Ladies and gentlemen, you're rocking with a GOAT. Kenn Dowell giving you motivation for growth. 2 toes down, he keep it realer than most. He do it for the culture, that's always the goal. This is Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell. This is Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell.
What's happening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Strategic Moves. I'm your host, Kenn Dowell, and today it's all about jobs. Taco Bell is paying $20 an hour for people to work right now. So right now, jobs is a big issue in Cuyahoga County, and today we're going to talk about jobs. And today, my guest, she is the administrator for Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board, and she's going to talk a little bit about jobs with me. So everybody, welcome, Ms. Ida Ford.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, Ida. We're going to sit back, relax, and
all right,
have a good time and talk a little bit. Before we get into the jobs and stuff that we're going to, because I like everybody to know who you are, tell me a little bit about yourself. You were born here in Cleveland? You raised in Cleveland? You from here?
I'm a home girl. Cleveland, born and raised. Took a little time and moved to Pittsburgh and did some work there.
You got to tell us where you was raised at. Where you was
I was
raised
home girl.
Glenville, Collinwood. Where was you from?
Lee Harvard area.
Lee Harvard area.
JFK.
So you went to JFK?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Okay. Then after that, you moved on and do some other stuff?
Yeah, and then came back to home.
Okay.
Back to home. This is my roots.
What did you do in Pittsburgh when you was there?
In workforce development, same thing. Looking and helping people find career destinations. Working in economic development for the city of Pittsburgh, and working for like a one-stop, as we have the OhioMeansJobs office here in town.
Now, the position you hold right now is the Workforce Development Administrator. Now, that position, how was that created? It was created not too long ago. It's a fairly new position, isn't it?
Yes, it's a City of Cleveland position, and I work primarily for the Workforce Development Board, the City of Cleveland elected officials, as well as Cuyahoga County elected officials. We have a strategic plan that we lay out and trying to execute some of those program services that we offer at the OhioMeansJobs office.
So you work for the city, but out of the OhioMeansJobs office.
Yes.
Now, and tell everybody, what is OhioMeansJobs?
OhioMeansJobs is a brand name, but it's a public workforce system where we bring all of these individuals under one roof to deliver some services for individuals in our community. So employers get an opportunity to work with OhioMeansJobs to find the talent that they need, and then individuals from the community can come to OhioMeansJobs to get the skills that they need, and also to use us as like a bridge or an advocate to speak on their behalf, whether it's soft skills development training that you might need to help enhance you. Maybe it's just a new resume. Maybe you want to come to our office and use our computers. Everything is free. It's at no cost. We are federally funded by the Department of Labor. So it's a place where you can access career services in order to, improve your quality of life through jobs.
So, as I started off, we were talking about jobs and the importance and why people are not working today. I know it's a challenge these days to get people to go back to work. So from your perspective, Ms. Ida, what you think is happening? Why are people not going back? I got my opinion. I'm going to tell you my opinion. But what are your opinion? Why do you think people are not going back to work?
Well, I think, it's the disruption with the COVID. I mean, that kind of impacted it. So some jobs just went away naturally because of COVID. And then there's some things that the effects of COVID, you can't get your kids in school, so you're at home. And so now you don't have a job because you're at home, with your children and, trying to figure out a way to make, ends meet. And so maybe you've turned to other alternatives to, that gig economy, doing other different things. And the bottom line is that I think that people really weren't ready for COVID. And it just impacted and just changed a lot of the landscape. And then you also had some supplemental packages that were coming from the government. It's a lot, and we're still trying to figure out why.
Yeah, the supplemental packages from the government, as we'll break it down, that money that we was getting from the government, or others were getting, because I didn't get any, the money that they were getting from the government had a big role in that. You know, you had a lot of people who were making more money than they actually were making on their job. And then you actually had people who were going to employment, which they're doing a lot of now, where you'll go to one place, you'll work a short period of time, find a place that's paying a little bit more and move on. So there's a lot of people that are just job hopping right now and trying to find that that one spot. You know, I mentioned Taco Bell today, you know, literally over on Mayfield and Cleveland Heights, you know, they have a sign that's out on the lawn saying they're paying $20 an hour to have people work there. Now, what's funny with me is my very first job I ever had was at Taco Bell.
I was McDonald's.
I was Taco Bell. It was Taco Bell, and hell, it had to be. Hey, I think I almost was there when Taco Bell first came out. You know, it was a while ago, a long time ago. And $20 an hour to work there. Employers are really catching a hard time trying to get people to work. And I know what part of the stuff you guys do at OhioMeansJobs is looking to get more employers on. What are some of the things and challenges you find you're getting from some of these employers now?
Well, we take it a step back. When with the the impact of COVID, I think also it was a little pivot. Employers are now finding that employees are really should be valued. So now you see the sign-on bonuses. Now you see more flexibility in maybe getting off work early or working part-time from home and coming in. And now they're seeing that there's a true value in those employees that they may have taken for granted. So there is a good shift out of that. And so I think that trend is going to stay in effect because people or employers have seen the impact when they have lost employees. So to find good people coming to work, they will pay. And then if you have, if you're a job seeker and you want to expand on your career training abilities and things of that nature, come to OMJ, because 9 times out of 10, we probably can pay for some training that then you could take to that next job and then get that salary and demand what you're really worth.
Working from home is a big thing.
It's a trend.
It's a trend, and you finding that people are getting more work done more efficiently at home. The caregiving part of that is a huge piece. You know, the like you say, COVID affected not just you going to work, but it affected the daycare. It affected your children going to school and all of that. Transportation and how all of that. So that was a huge piece of that. So I imagine that's what's killing the job market as well and hurting people from doing it. But how are we going to get them back out? And we mentioned OhioMeansJobs and having the training that you guys offer there. Let's talk about the type of training that you guys do offer at OhioMeansJobs. We start with soft skills training, because what I know is important from my experience of working through the years is we say, oh, the unions are hiring, these groups are hiring these, but the problem with especially African Americans and getting into some of those trades is the fact that we fall short on our soft skills and being able to pass the test to get in there, which is the first test, which is the mental test. Then we have to pass the urine test and everything else after that, but that's coming. But the first part is at least getting over the soft skills piece. You guys do a soft skills training program down there, right?
We do a soft skills development program. We're in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, and we are really proud of this, and it's going to launch next week. And I would just encourage anyone that has maybe had 3 or 4 jobs in the last year, couple years, it's a lot. And so they have to tell that story when they go to a potential employer, which could be another reason why a lot of people are unemployed. So because then another employer might be looking at this person's not going to stay, they're not going to be loyal, whatever it might be. But let us help you share your story, because it's really difficult to say that I didn't like this job, I didn't like this job, when really in essence it could be just some foundational skills that you need. Critical thinking, because we don't realize that a person that might be in the city could have had to take 3 or 4 buses to get to work. And as soon as they get to work, here comes their boss and tell them that you're late and this and that. Not really understanding that this person went through a process. And so if they have all of that stress on them, then they're probably not going to respond as well. So we're going to help you to respond better in situations like that, to have more critical thinking, to promote yourself in working in team environments, just to have that emotional intelligence to move forward. So then you don't have 3 or 4 jobs that you have to explain on your resume. But when you're having trouble with that, come to us and we can help you guide you through that process.
And
When you talk about soft skills, it's about critical thinking. It's the way you might respond to a situation.
Okay.
Just figuring out, if I'm in a conversation with my supervisors, holding your hands like this.
Gotcha.
Just maybe putting your hands on the table and then making sure that you're receiving that information or talking over the person. Or when you're in a project for yourself and then you want to be the lead always. It's just being part of a team and just being being more empathetic to situations and making a good decision that can carry you further in life.
So what do you find is some of the biggest challenges prior to COVID? We understood that COVID is an issue that's a whole nother thing, and but prior to that, what were some of the issues you think that African Americans especially were having in trying to get some of these skills and getting themselves ready for workforce?
So you have the transportation issue, you had the drug testing issue, and then also even at some of the hospitals, they had the nicotine restrictions,
Yes.
And so you'll see some hospitals now that are removing that from the interview process.
Wow. Okay.
So now that's a good thing. So now it's opening up doors for other individuals. So you had the smoke, you had the drugs, you got the transportation, you had the daycare, all those little things that become little things on your back that you carry to work with you if you get the job. And then so you're not responding positively in certain situations.
Correct.
So you have all of that. So all of that's compounded on, and also the fact that you might not be paid as much as the persons that's non-colored that's working right next door to you.
Correct.
Well, for any job that we consider in demand, and that's a hot job, they're in healthcare, IT, and also manufacturing. We work with manufacturing employers that are waiting, lined up at the table. Most of them are on our board, Workforce Development Board, that are ready to hire people. We work with Magnet. We're working with Manufacturing Works, we're working with the healthcare industry right now, where all three hospitals have come together, and we have some training information sessions tomorrow. If they're interested, $15 an hour to start. It's a 7-day training program. If you complete the 7 days, you are guaranteed employment at either three hospitals. And these are positions like in sterile and surgical equipment, nursing support. Those jobs lead to career pathways. And so even if it's a person say, I don't like working in a hospital, you don't have to work in a hospital and work with blood or anything. Most hospitals are like huge campuses.
Correct.
Cleveland Clinic has a library.
Correct.
So there's all different sorts of fields who work there. So we talked about manufacturing, we talked about healthcare, and IT. IT are looking for people of color, looking for women to go into leadership positions at the ground level and starting up, and they pay extremely well.
But how much experience you need for those jobs?
Well, for IT, little to none. There is some assessment to see if you can think on your feet. Maybe you like working with your hands and your creative thinking in certain situations, but little to no experience. They really like people to mold them, and they can give you the tools, and the training. So, I would just encourage anyone to come through our doors and let us help you and guide you through either one of those sectors.
I know working with you guys, something I found out is that we talk about manufacturing, and we talk about the type of work that is going on now is not the same as it used to be when we were growing up, or when we saw our parents come home all dirty, and these are clean jobs. They're in manufacturing, they're in warehouses and stuff, and what we call clean jobs, where you go there and you basically are working behind a machine, CNC machines and things of that nature, where you learn how to do those crafts. And those are the type of opportunities that you guys offer there, correct?
That is correct. I mean, when I was working in a staffing agency a long time ago, we would go do tours at manufacturing plants, and literally would have to have on goggles, shoes, and all kinds of equipment where you couldn't even see your face. Most manufacturing employers right now are clean as a whistle.
That's correct.
Clean as a whistle.
Let's talk about some of the employers, you guys. Some of the names, and these are some maybe now, and you have worked it in the past. So that, because one of the things OMJ get a bad rap of, everybody, those kind of jobs, or they get you those low end kind of jobs, or jobs that don't pay real money. Let's talk about some of the employers and people you had that came through you guys' doors over the years.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we do work entry-level jobs, but I always say we can help people find an entry-level job from a housekeeper to a person that has an advanced degree. I think that's just always just been that myth of those only
Correct.
type of jobs that we work with. And that's typically because that's the funding that follows those entry-level positions.
Gotcha.
So we're federally funded, so when a person might need some training or additional help or more intensive skills, in order for us to do that, we are funded through the Department of Labor to do that. But we can find jobs in middle advanced careers, all of those we can find them all because our staff have worked in the recruiting industry. I come from the recruiting industry.
Correct.
And we teach each other the certain questions to ask. And if you don't know, you just ask one. Even, I can fill positions in IT. You ask the right questions and you can find out, if that individual knows exactly what they want to do.
What they're looking to do.
Well, we work with Cleveland Clinic, Lincoln Electric, you name it. And we work with
Swage Lock, yeah.
We work with small employers as well, which is also good because on the employer side, there's some benefits for them because we actually give them additional funds.
Correct.
To hire the talent that comes walking in our doors.
Yeah, and so we're going to stay on that point just a little bit and pivot a little bit because what's interesting, that not only do you guys help the employee or the person looking for a job, but the employer, that business, small business or big business that's looking to bring on someone who needs training, you guys help with dollars for them as well and can help with training dollars for bringing on employers or people who may need some help in getting employed.
Absolutely. So if an employer has worked with an agency, and I don't knock agencies because that's where I come from, that industry, but if employer hired someone, permanent placement, if you will, to find Joe, and they hire Joe. If you're working through an agency, you're going to pay thousands of dollars for Joe. Joe's probably registered with OhioMeansJobs, Cleveland-Cuyahoga County. So if he comes to us, it's free.
Right.
However, you can hire Joe for free versus going through the third party. And then also, if you would like for Joe to take Joe from point A to point B, then we will give you money to help you do that. It can be on the job training for Joe, or it could be an outsourced private school that is one of our approved training providers to provide Joe the necessary skills to get from point A to point B. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's
really
a win-win.
is.
And employers, especially those in, like we said, the small business as well as some of the bigger business, this is a piece that none of the other type of agencies can offer, is that type of training assistance and being able to do that and be able to help find the type of employers they're looking for. So if I'm just and I have a daughter or someone who's just got out of high school but not sure what they want to do. They're not sure if they want to go to college. But matter of fact, they know they don't want to go to college. Let's put it that way, because we got some who just say, I don't want to go to college. I really want to try to figure out what I want to do. You guys have a youth component to this as well.
Young Adult Resource Center.
Young Adult Research. You have an acronym, you guys.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to think. YRC. That's what I was trying to think of, the acronym of it.
Right.
But the YRC is a program that you work there that's specifically for young adults. And in this program, I know that you can come in, you help with resume writing, you help them to help try to shape what kind of future they want.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on with that YRC.
Yeah, it's really cool. We call it the YRC, Young Adult Resource Center. 18 to 24, they get the same exact skills as the adults get, but it's more of a focus on what do you want to do, career exploration. What do you want to be when you grow up in life? Because some of us don't find out to what we want to do till really late.
Exactly.
So it gives them a chance to, kind of like test the waters before they commit. It also gets them to, share experiences with other people their same age, and it introduces them to workforce. And the resume component of it really is so helpful because they don't really understand how to create a resume or to just take some of the experience maybe as volunteer that are transferable skills that we could put on a resume that focuses and highlight on them as an individual, and then they're really proud of those. And a lot of the positions that I talked about that we fund, either in healthcare, manufacturing, IT, most of them are in-demand positions without a 4-year degree. And we also help individuals to obtain a 2 to 4 year degree as well through our scholarship program.
Now, what's that?
we have a scholarship program under our roof, and if individuals are interested in going back to school, give us a call. We can actually do some assessments to see if they qualify, because there's an eligibility component. We might be able to help them pay for some classes or obtain a 2 to 4 year degree in those in-demand fields.
So, all right, I want you to tell me, in doing this work and working with these, with OhioMeansJobs, tell me about someone that you know you didn't help, that at the end of the day you really said, damn, I'm glad I did that, and I really know that, you know what, that helped that person, and that's why I do this.
You're just going to make me cry now, because I just remembered this one young man. We were doing our youth committee. We had did something last year, and it was called 1824. So it was a conversation, a program that we put together for ages 18-24 to find out what's on the young adults, what's on their minds. You know, we had some rooms, we had in breakout sessions, because they had to be in a breakout room through Zoom. And one was on, social injustice, jobs, a couple other rooms I can't remember right now. But there was a young man that was visiting our center, and he was downstairs in our career resource room, which is, open to the public. You can come in, use the fax machine, copier, use computers. And we had some flyers downstairs that this was going on. And so one of the ladies from the resource room called me. She says, Ida, this young man is here in our center right now, young adult, and he wanted to know if he could dial in. And so I said, yeah, give him the information. And so he chimed on. And so at the end of the day, he called me after it was over and said, I was so impressed. I did not know that OhioMeansJobs had all these services available. I was just told to come here. And so there were some employers on its Cleveland clinic specifically was hosting one of the rooms. And we made long story short, this young man walked in without a lot of self-esteem, just coming in there, didn't know what to do. He had walked upstairs. I met him, talked to him. I could tell that he was in a bad situation. Long story short, connected him up with Cleveland Clinic. A few weeks later, interview, everything. This young man now is working on a career pathway, and he came in, I think it was right before the holidays. Sharp.
Excellent.
New glasses. Goatee. He was so sharp. I mean, I was just so, and he came upstairs to thank us for that opportunity. I said, please tell your friends.
Excellent. So, yeah, and
he said it changed his life.
It changed his life. And that's what I know one of the things you want to do with OhioMeansJobs is that we talk about is, you want people to come there not to just get a job, but to really try to get a career path.
Yeah,
find your way and be able to do something in the long run.
Right.
That's really good. All right, Miss Ida. Let's talk a little bit about the organization a little bit. Tell me who's the director and some of the head administrators over there that keeps the doors open and running on a day-to-day.
Well, that would be Frank Brickner. He's the Chief Financial Officer and also the interim Chief Executive Officer at OhioMeansJobs. And then there's myself. There's Mary Kelly, who's our Program Administrator. And we have a great team of folks that are from the county as well as city leadership, because we're the administrator that kind of does the day-to-day work.
And some of your committees that you guys did, what committees do that makes up OMJ?
Well, we have a workforce development board, and we have an awesome board, I got to say. And it's the leadership with Ethan Karp. I'm sure you know Ethan. Ethan Karp, CEO of Magnet. And then we have a vice chair, which is Shauna Marbury, with Greater Cleveland Partnership. We have 5 standing committees. That's, of course, the executive committee. We have a marketing outreach committee that I know you know about because you work here and doing some communication and outreach for the community. We have a strong leader with our youth committee, which is now Mayor Kim Thomas.
She's now, shouts out to Mayor Thomas.
Yes. And Strategic Functions Committee with University Hospital, that's Kim Shelnick.
Excellent.
Yeah, we also have a governance committee that is, that works on our behalf as well. But then that's pretty much just 5, yes.
5 committees. And as it relates to OMJ and some of the new things that you guys think that you would like to do in the future, is there ways that anyone can be a part of that organization, or if you wanted to work on any of those committees or join you guys, how does that go?
Right. Okay. So we have subcommittees that's kind of like a branch, if you will, from some of the leadership committees. So we always welcome any community partners or community folks to join and give me a call, and then I can point them in the right direction. But most of our boards, it's 51%. Mostly business. So we have strong leadership of folks that are business-led seats on our board. So you have, your Lincoln Electric and some of those organizations. We have McTech, which is Josh Perkins. We have a lot of folks on our board. And we have, again, a committed board that is really on the pathway of turning to get into the community, meeting people where they are. In the past, we have relied on the fact that people walk in the doors. Well, we're not seeing people's walking in our doors as much. So how do we meet people where they are? So we rely on Felton Thomas with the Cleveland Public Library and Cuyahoga County Library individuals to say, when people go to the library, to give them a direction, give them a direction to career resources at our organization. And then at the same time, if folks are in our door and they say, I want to be an entrepreneur, but we don't have an entrepreneurship program, but the library has great resources.
Exactly.
So then we'll share those resources together.
Now, let's talk about some of your vendors. I'll call them vendors, and that's the wrong title for them. We talk about like your ULA and some of the other folks that work, service providers that work with you guys that help you push. Who are some of the service providers you guys work with like that?
Oh, sure. So United Labor Agency does the adult services, and then towards employment, we have them for reentry. We have YOU for the young adult services. Job Corps is part of the family. We have the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services that's part of the family. So we're all under this one roof. And none of us work for OhioMeansJobs. It's a brand name, you know. But we're all in there just pulling pieces and parts together to make sure that people get to work. And I would also be remiss to say that we have veteran services, and they get priority.
About to go there next.
Priority service.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
You say priority service with the veterans. Who does your veteran service? And you got a little information?
That is done by our state staff, and most of the individuals that provide the one-on-one coaching are veterans themselves. And again, when we say priority service, that means they go to the front.
Excellent.
Any and always.
And let's talk about the reentry, folks, and dealing with reentry. So if you're a person that needs help in getting back into employment, and that you work with those people, you work with those type of people as well, correct?
We work with individuals that have had, some situations in the past, but we call it ex-offender. X is there for a reason. We have many employers that accept individuals based on the criteria that they can do the job. That X part does not matter at all. They just need to come in and then work with us so we can help navigate the system so they can become gainfully employed.
Okay, so I just was riding down the street because I'm looking for a job, and I saw this big sign out there that said OhioMeansJobs, and it's a good day, so I get in the building because everybody's back because COVID ain't stopping me. Let's go that far.
Okay.
Okay. And before I get into that, is the building open?
We are open, yes.
Okay,
yes,
the building is open. Yes. So I can come in.
You can walk in.
I can walk right on and say I want to sign up because I'm looking for employment. What happens to me next?
Well, a couple things that happen. Two things. You can self-direct yourself to our services by getting registered online by yourself. And so that's one of the things. Some people can do it by themselves. I have my own resume. I'm confident with it. I'm going to be self-directed. And then there's someone that says, you know what, I have some skills. I'm really confident, but I really want to get a second opinion.
Correct.
So then that's when we'll pair you up with a person that's going to be your coach.
Okay.
And that's the person that's going to say, let me help you find out a little bit more about you.
Okay.
Are you interested in doing anything outside of what you've done in the past? Tell me about your experiences working in box making.
Okay.
You want to continue to make box making because it looks like the last jobs that you had that you were downsized. How about we change this box making experience into IT? because we can see that there's a lot of transferable skills. And so that's when you get to work with someone that's going to be your coach. I would prefer that route if I was an individual, because that person could work with you and you can still do your own thing. You're not paying them anything.
You know, I was sitting here. I'll tell you a crazy story, because part of this podcast is being my crazy stories. So this is a real true story. I was having issues growing up as a kid.
Okay.
You know, straight up issues with school and everything, dropping in and out of school because I just couldn't. My issue with school was I was growing up and I grew up with my grandmother. So she was trying to take care of us. And I was in that era where everybody was selling drugs, but I didn't want to be a drug dealer. Right. But I didn't mind working and hustling and doing everything else. So I was looking for jobs all the time. And if I found me a job that was going to pay me, I'd rather do that than go to school any day. So found this job. Actually did this. And I tell people, I got on the bus one day. I was supposed to went to school, right? Took my bus fare, didn't go to school. I went downtown. I started downtown, and I said, I'm going to start at from Tower City, and I'm going to walk from St. Clair, Superior, all these streets every day, hitting every business, putting an application in until somebody gives me a job.
That's what I'm talking about.
I said I was going to do that. And I did that. And I started on St. Clair, and I did St. Clair, and I walked down, and I got to like 30th and St. Clair. It was a place called Working Walls. Velcro was coming out, and people was, oh, you can use Velcro to do all of this thing, and this company was making Velcro. So the guy called me in. I went to the guy, told him, you know, I'm looking for a job. He said, how old you is? I lied. Okay. Right? And I told him, I said, yeah, I'm 19 years old. He said, you 19? I said, yeah, I'm looking for this job. He said, okay. He was like, can you measure? Now, I could measure. I knew all the measurements on the tape measure. I could do all of that. He was like, can you measure? Can you do this? I said, yeah. I went through that little training. Woo! My job was I was a box maker. See, no lie.
I wonder why you brought that up today.
I was a box maker. So
brought back history.
When you say it, I was sitting there like, oh my God, you're triggered. So I was making these boxes because people would order like this cup, and they say, I want this cup, and we would make the box to put the cup in and put some Velcro or something on it, and actually we'll make the box. He'll say, here goes the boxes in. I need you to take this cardboard, measure it out, put the tape in, make me a box. That's what I was doing. So I was doing this job, and a friend of mine, he was an older gentleman, he found out that I was doing. Now, I was making really good money at this job back then. I was probably making, maybe $15 an hour.
Oh, that's,
yeah, I was doing pretty good. I was making real adult money at that time, right? And again, this was right when Velcro, so it's like everything, it was hot, so people were making money at it. And so this guy, he was telling me, he said, what are you going to do, man? I said, oh, man, I got this job, man. I'm making good money. I was telling him about it. And he said, well, doing what? I said, I'm making boxes. And he told me, he said, what the hell you want to be, the head box maker? You need to go back to school and do this. All you're going to be is the head box maker. And I looked at him, I said, the head box maker make $25 an hour. Yes, I want to be the head box maker.
No, I want to learn how to own the box company. Okay.
So at the end of the story, at the end of the day, the teacher, a principal ended up calling home, telling my grandmother that I hadn't been coming to school. I lied to her because I told her I was going to, you remember back then you could do what was called OWA, where you could go to school half of the day and you could work the other half.
I remember
so
that.
I told her, I said, oh, I'm in OWA. I go to school, but I go to work. So she like, well, you working, you got your own money, and I'm bringing home checks.
Right.
Like, she coming home like, dude,
baby,
you bringing home checks. Right? And she knowing, but she kind of not knowing. She like, you up to something, but you're not selling, you working, right? And so I went to work one day, and boss called me in the office, and he said, Ken, why you lie to me? I said, what you mean? He said, you're not 19 years old. He said, you supposed to be in school. And your grandmother is sitting in the driveway. I looked out the window, and she was sitting in the car. Busted. Just started crying. And he said, here's your last check. You got to go. Got in the car, went home. She didn't say nothing to me the whole time. I was just sitting there crying all the way home. She just looked at me and said, you go back to school. I was like, I hate school.
But and
I went back to school. But that's how it went. Yeah.
But you know what? But the thing that's interesting, too, is about that job. You said when you took the job, you didn't know that it really required to
Right.
measuring.
It did.
And so that's the beauty of working with us, because most of the time you as an individual not going to know that. You're
Correct.
going to read the job description and you're not going to understand that. But when we go in as like a business rep and go find out, and then you tell the employers, they're like, okay, the person needs this, 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 and this. I always say that's a wish list.
That's
what
what-
do they really need?
Exactly.
And they'll
Exactly.
tell you they need to know how to measure or understand measurements. So then that's when you can go to that person and say, can you read a ruler?
Right.
Oh, you can't? Okay, let's help you.
Correct. And back then, school was a little different because you could take the wood classes. I took
remember that
drafting.
fun stuff.
And so by me learning to take drafting, they taught us all our measurements. And that's why I was able to do it. Right now, I don't even know if they do drafting or any of that kind of stuff in school anymore, so that you couldn't. But I was really able, and I took drafting in middle school. So I was able to come out of middle school just taking the classes there. Back then, you were able to almost go out and get you a job.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up, just from
Right
that.
out.
Right out. You know what I mean?
Right out.
And so it's just different now. So we go back to that to saying, you know, now times have changed. We a lot years later, and we hit with a pandemic. And now we got people who are sitting at home not working. We have a big workforce that's out there. I think they say there's something like 4 million people quit their jobs last year. 4 million people just said, you know, the hell with this. I'm not going back to work because of the circumstances that they were under. So now, you know, we're in that position, and I don't know either what's going to happen or how we get through it. I know we're going to try hard that we can.
We're gonna try real hard.
OhioMeansJobs to do it.
We're not gonna
but
give up.
It's a real hard thing that we got going here.
We're not going to give up. You know what? And like I said, these are times that maybe some people may not come back to the workforce, but then they want to be entrepreneurs.
Correct.
Then how can we help them get what they need so they become a
correct.
successful entrepreneur?
That's correct. That's
So
correct.
so partnering with, like you say, the libraries to understand, you know, paying my taxes quarterly, you know, 1099s, whatever it is that they need to become successful entrepreneurs. And if they're ready to come back into the workforce, we're here because then you also gain some other additional skills along the way. Being an entrepreneur is awesome. It's amazing.
Oh, it's
I've been an
amazing.
entrepreneur.
I
You're an
love it.
entrepreneur,
Love it.
right?
I love it.
You'll never forget those foundational skills. So, you know, whatever career path that you choose, we can help you.
Excellent.
And that's what I wanted to convey. You know, whatever path, college, direct employment, training, education, or if you want to go somewhere else, then we have partners that can help you out to navigate you through the process.
Well, I really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
We want to use our program as a vehicle anytime for any of the folks there at OhioMeansJobs who want to come on. If you ever want to come back on and say, hey, we have a new program that we want to just talk about, we can come out and do that, or you come in and just let us know. We love to get that out to our audience.
Appreciate it.
And so right now, what we want you to do is just kind of look at that camera there, and you got a moment to tell people everything that you might want them to know about OMJ and how they can get in touch with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today. Definitely, if anyone is out there that's looking for work, maybe know of someone that's looking for work, whether it be career training or going directly to work, we can help you to improve your quality of life. Give us a call. Our services are absolutely free. I think you'll find benefit in our services. If you need a computer, come to us. We can help you out with a computer. You need to use our fax, the phones, help your operation, new resume. Having someone else look at your resume to put a new set of eyes on it is well worth it. And we can help you out in the interview process. Give us a call, 216-777-8200.
And your website is?
OMIJCC.us.
Thank you, Ms. Ida, for coming
You're
on our
welcome.
show. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys the next time. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, we're done.